Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Hollywood After Dark, Friday, February 23rd, 2023. Today, we're going to be talking about the Naruto live-action movie. Not too sure after Avatar The Last Airbender this should be announced, but hey, here we are. Terrifier 3 begins productions, and folks, there's an entire parody remake of Terminator 2 using nothing but AI. All right, Hollywood After Dark, let's fucking go. Hey, what's going on, everyone? How y'all doing? Welcome back to Hollywood After Dark. It is, of course, Friday. It is the end of the week. It is, thank God it's Friday. I don't know about you, but this is also my Monday. I start work today. Yay! But it's an earlier recording of the show. So if you're catching this on the premiere, I appreciate it. If you guys want, thank you for everyone for tuning in. I do appreciate that as well. I said there's a lot to get to. So let's just kind of dive right in. But first things first, if you do like Hollywood After Dark and you want to support it, become a premium member by becoming a channel member or joining the Patreon. I swear to God, perks are coming at some point in time. I just keep forgetting, but don't worry, I do want to provide the content. That being said, if you also want to support the show, be sure to check out Podio Commentary, my long-form review series that is coming back next week with new episodes, breaking down some of your favorite best and worst movies. And of course, obviously going to be talking about some Tubi stuff, because last night after Boulder Talk Radio, Kate and RJ and I spent about 2 hours going through what's on Tubi. And my God, it's amazing how bad things are. But today is a little bit different. Like I said, we got a lot to talk about. So let's just start it off with the first story. Let's talk about Terrifier 3. It's now in production, and an image has been shared by Damien Leone. This is what we got right here. The first image of art back in action, Terrifier 3. This is a wild thing for me, to be fair, because what you guys got to understand about the Terrifier franchise is that the first movie, when it came out in 2016, only had a budget of approximately like $55,000, according to this one report. I've heard it as high as $125,000. If you watch it, it's definitely on the lower budgeted side of things, but it's effective in what it's trying to do. Then, of course, Terrifier 2 came out, and that had a budget of $250,000, but it grossed over $15.1 million at the box office when it came out in 2022. The movie did really well, and there is a high bar set for what fans are expecting with Terrifier 3, which is now coming out October 25th, 2024. It's been allocated a much larger budget of apparently a few $1 million. When I first heard that this movie was in production, I heard it was going to have a budget of 7 figures, but it was like low budget of 7 figures. This is, I'm hearing now, is a few $1 million according to this report. And you know what? I want to see what Damien is going to be able to come up with, because this is the third Terrifier film. Here is what the general plot synopsis is. Art the Clown wreaks havoc on the residents of Miles County on Christmas Eve, just as they are settling down for the night. And obviously, Art, dressed as Santa Claus, is going to go through a murderous rampage through the city. That should be something that should be quite a bit of fun. Not too sure where exactly Cena is going to be able to come back into play as the final girl. We got Lauren LaVera reprising her role. She became a very big fan favorite coming off of Terrifier 2, and she seems like a really wonderful person. I follow her on Twitter. She seems very nice and loves everything that she's part of. You've got Elliot Fulham coming back as Sienna's brother, Jonathan, and I want to know if they're going to explore more of his connection to Art. That was kind of hinted at in the beginning of Terrifier 2, especially talking about their dad. Him going missing was definitely a storyline that was set up in the beginning of Terrifier 2, with some people believing, there's a theory I've seen where Art is actually their dad, but like a demonic version of their dad. And that might be something worth checking out. Chris Jericho, who had a small cameo in Terrifier 2, will appear in Terrifier 3, but he has said that his role will be brief. Most likely, my interpretation is that it's going to be at the beginning of the movie, because at the end of the movie is where we saw him, and that cliffhanger is pretty wild and pretty crazy. And so we'll have to wait and see what they're going to do with that, because David Howard Thornton is returning to play Art the Clown. And I'm looking forward to this guy just kind of chewing the scenery completely silent. He does such a great job with that. I mean, we talk about like physical performances. He does such an amazing job with the physical performance as art, and I really like it. And I can't wait to see what they do with it. Here's my hope. All right, my hope is that they really do tone down the length of this movie. They make it leaner, they make it tighter, they make it more engaging, expand the lore. And if this is what's going to wrap up the show, I don't know if this is going to be the final movie. Obviously, these things are shot for dirt cheap and they make a lot of money. We'll have to wait and see. But I do feel with the extra budget, Damien is going to 100% just try to make everybody vomit. And that is kind of my fear, because while you had the upside down scene in the first movie, that saw scene, which is just brutal, the second movie did something even worse, even more brutal, but it went so far with it. It went from being horrific to being slapstick. It lost the impact. And then it just made itself like, it just screwed up. Like, I kind of equate it to, there's this scene in House of a Thousand Corpses where it's this long shot of one of the, I think it wasn't Captain Spaulding, but it was like, maybe it was Bill Moseley or one of the other guys. And he's got a cop on his knees and he's going to execute the cop. And the camera starts just to zoom out and hold and hold and hold. And you're waiting, right? You go 1, 2, 3, and you're waiting for the third beat for the shot to happen, for the execution to happen, because that's what we're trained on. And then it holds it for another 3 beats. And you're like, oh my God, that's this intense. And you think that's going to hit it. And then they hold it for another 3 beats. And then they finally do it. I'm like, you lose the mix. You lose it. You don't need 9 beats. 6 beats would have been fine. That's what I'm trying to say. You never want to go too far, but they do find a way to go too far sometimes. And this is one that I feel definitely kind of had that problem with it, as weird as that is to say. But I do, again, I'm very excited for what is going to be happening with this franchise. And I want to see what they're going to do with it. And so with that, let's talk about the wildest news of the day, in my opinion. There has been a trailer released for Our T2 Remake, which is a feature-length artificial intelligence parody of Terminator 2. I'm not kidding you. This is what we know from the press release, saying Our T2 Remake marks a new era in cinema where entire movies can now be generated with the help of machines. This film puts a spin on the beloved 1991 classic, with commentary and satire about modern-day AI technology and its effect on humanity. This film was inspired by Our RoboCop remake, is dedicated to the AI community, and celebrates this innovative space. Our T2 Remake envisions a classic narrative often cited negatively in AI discourse, challenging the doomsday perspective. And it's one of those things I'm thinking about with that George Carlin AI special that wasn't really an AI special. It was just like written by other people, and then they just used like a speech-to-speech imitator, which is like 11 Labs does that in order to get it to sound a bit like George Carlin. That's a lawsuit that's currently playing out. I don't know any details on where it currently stands, but that's kind of where my mind goes on this. But this particular remake began its production during the writer's strike over the summer, when a filmmaker named Nem Perez and Sway Molina, who's an actor in Miami, decided to put this project together. They arranged 50 artists from around the globe, each giving them a segment of the film to create. Each segment of James Cameron's science fiction classic is being reimagined by using different and various AI tools and styles. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to play for you guys the whole trailer, because I feel this is something definitely worth checking out, and I want to hear your thoughts and your opinions on this.
Get to the chopper, baby. And they say AI can't do hands.
Boobies can dance better than you, asshole. It can mimic any object it touches within reason.
Basically, it's a glorified shape-shifting spork.
More along the lines of inflammable dildos and rubber duckies.
So yeah, I mean, it's wild. I'm not going to lie. It is impressive. It is impressive, as I've talked very positively about the inclusion of AI in filmmaking. I know I'm one of the few people out there that sees its value, sees its relevance, and sees how it's going to shake things up. I know Tyler Perry is also on that list, and I'm just going to be honest with you. Okay, I'm just going to be fair, and I'm just going to be truthful. Keep it 100. Okay. A lot of filmmakers are salivating over this. Make no mistake. Make no damn mistake. A lot of them are, but a lot of them are holding their tongues about it because they're tired. They don't want to get involved in the backlash. They don't want to get involved in the backlash. They're going to wait for this to be considered more of an accepted practice in these kind of movies and projects and stuff. But make no mistake, your favorite filmmaker is already experimenting. Your favorite filmmaker is already putting this kind of stuff together. It's here to stay. The genie's out of the bottle. It is what it is. And quite frankly, many of you just need to get the F over it. I'm just going to be honest. You cannot like me saying that, but this movie, this parody, I should say, let's not call it a movie because it's not that yet, but it comes out on March 9th. There's a live stream. There's an in-person premiere in LA on March 6th, which I would love to go to. Apparently I can request tickets, but that would require me to get down to Los Angeles, and that's just not going to happen. But anyway, what are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comments, because as we go from that hot topic, let's talk about Game of Thrones, where Dan and Dave confirm that AT&T wanted them to shoot episodes of the show vertically so it could fit on people's phones and they could watch it, as well as them wanting to do a trilogy of films to finish out the show. This has been a bit of a hot topic interview going around today. A lot of people, again, coming out with their very unfounded attacks on David Benioff and DB Weiss. The last 5 years now, since Game of Thrones ended, I've defended that final season. I'm not saying that it's perfect, but I'm saying it's better than people give it credit for. And a lot of that problem, I believe, had to do with George R.R. Martin, because just recently, even George R.R. Martin revealed that the original ending for the show did involve a film trilogy for theaters. They wanted to wrap up the show by putting it into 3 movies made for theaters. Now, HBO executives rejected this plan, emphasizing HBO's television focus as implied by its name, home box office, rather than away box office. But the thing with that, though, is I kept saying this. If they were to put the finale in theaters, if they were to or remaster the first season of episode, or the first episode of season 8, or the finale, or the Battle of Winterfell, or the fall of King's Landing, or whatever, if they would have put those in IMAX, people would have paid money to see them and would have gone home and watched them as well. There's no reason why the first 2 episodes of the season should not have been in theaters. One of the best things that I think Amazon did for The Lord of the Rings was put the first 2 episodes out there in that special one night showcase that I got to see, and it was amazing, and I loved it, and I came back, talked highly about it. So yeah, they screwed the pooch on that one. David Zaslav would definitely be the guy. Zaddy would absolutely be the guy. Come on out and say, hey, let's put it in the theaters to try to make some money, because they had their earnings call today, and he admitted that things were maybe not performing as well. But additionally, AT&T also wanted them to shoot the final season vertical as well, in order to be able to play it on people's phones, right? And now keep in mind, this was in 2018. 2019. You guys got to remember that we weren't at the Quibi phase yet. TikTok had not blown up in the way that it's blown up. Vertical was not something people were interested in, right? We were 1 year removed from IGTV coming out in the summer of 2018. And with Instagram saying the future of video is vertical, they were right. They were just not the platform to run it. And so a year later, we got Quibi, and Quibi was much maligned, and people attacked it for the verticality of it. Never mind the way that it was done. Vertical was actually really interesting. It kept your focus. It allowed you to engage with everything in the way that it would give you the best part of the story. But again, watching it on widescreen is the way to watch it. But again, the technology was there. The technology was interesting. And again, Quibi got a lot of, people weren't ready for it yet, man. Because people they run away from all this new technology. Again, I was one of the few people that were championing Quibi. And here it is all these years later, and I'm kind of right. I mean, but look, should Game of Thrones have had a vertical showcase, a vertical styling of the show for phones? Well, the answer to that is yes. You don't have to watch it, but yes, give people the accessibility, let them watch it how they want to watch it. I think that's perfectly fine. And again, I think that's something that would have been innovative and interesting, but now we're far beyond that. But anyway, Dave and Dan didn't do that. All right. And they opted to take off and head over to Netflix, where they've been able to basically get what they want. And they've had an insane budget to do it. And they're aiming to avoid the dysfunction seen in AT&T's management. They don't like these wobbly producers, right? They definitely don't want people who are trying to come at it from a purely corporate aspect. And they just want to be able to create the content that they create. Now they're doing this for Three Body Problem. And again, I don't know how that's going to be. That comes out March 21st. But I think as time goes on, we're going to learn that Dan and Dave were not exactly the arbiters of the fall of Game of Thrones, that the corporate oversight of AT&T, as well as George R.R. Martin screwing the pooch by not putting out those books, fundamentally doomed that show in regards to pop culture. And the sucky thing is that Dan and Dave have been way too professional to come on out and really cast shade where it should have gone. And I feel like they've taken a lot of the heat for that. But look, I'm willing to retract my statement 100% if when we do see Three Body Problem, it sucks ass. If it sucks ass, then yeah, totally, 100%. Then they're the problem. And I'll admit that, but I got to watch it first, okay? So what are your thoughts? Let me know on that one. Now, why don't we move on and talk about one of the weirder stories, and one that I'm actually glad didn't happen the way people wanted it to. And that, of course, is John Cena almost didn't do the Barbie cameo because his agency told him to reject it because it was beneath him. This is John Cena we're talking about here. All right, this man, I love John Cena, make no mistake. I think he's a great actor. I think he's a great guy, but he is 100% cucked to China. That whole Taiwan debacle over Fast 9 was just laughably terrible. But you know what? He's going to do what's good for him. And he actually was talking about this on the Howard Stern show because his agency was advising him against making a cameo as the mermaid in Barbie. Because they thought that it might affect his future leading roles to see him in this position of almost emasculinity, right? Is he emasculated? He's there with Dua Lipa Barbie. It's a funny play on it. At no point is it a bad thing. However, Cena, to his credit, prioritized the opportunity over potential typecasting, emphasizing his view of himself as a human being open to diverse opportunities. And that's great. That's one of the reasons why I like John Cena. He doesn't take himself too seriously and he's open to new things. Dave Bautista is very much the same way. It's The Rock that is kind of give professional wrestlers a bit of a negative angle with that kind of typecasting elements, right? Anyway, but this particular opportunity, if you will, this cameo was kind of spontaneous because John Cena was working on Fast X nearby in London when he actually was approached by Margot Robbie, who offered him the cameo role. It was only going to be a half day on set. It was going to be very quick, very easy. He was already right there. And even though his agency did have initial reservations, he ultimately got them to accept his choice, recognizing that he has value and he does value his creative opportunities over conventional career paths. So his brief cameo appearance in Barbie was very minimal, but it was funny, and the movie went on to go $1.4 billion, putting him in the highest grossing film Warner Brothers has ever done in a very memorable cameo. You know, and so it's like John Cena is doing something to be funny and to have fun and to laugh and to joke around and to chill. And yet his agents were like, you know, and this is the whole thing, is like, this is what I'm talking about when it's like, this is what the box actors get put into. It's like they only want them to go into doing certain roles at certain times. Like they can only benefit their career rather than, I don't know, actually like trying to be artists and to experiment with different things. For that, I 100% applaud. I mean that. I 100% applaud John Cena for that. In fact, here we go. Woo! John Cena! That's right. John Cena, baby. Woo! He's got it all the time. You got to love John Cena because if you don't recognize what Cena is going to be doing with his career, all I can really say is, yeah. Don't get it twisted. John Cena's coming for your children to make them laugh. Yeah, let's go. I don't even know why I did that. I apologize. I had the sound effect here on my thing. I just wanted to run with it. Don't judge me too hard, folks. Okay, don't judge me too hard at all. And if you're a copyright person here on YouTube, it's a joke. It's parody. It's 100%. It's wild. It's not as wild though as this last story, because it just broke today that the Naruto movie is in the works with Destin Daniel Cretton writing and directing. Lionsgate is behind the adaptation of one of the biggest mangas of all time. And look, man, this is coming out the day after Avatar: The Last Airbender live action hits and it gets kind of middling reviews. I mean, like, anime adaptation into live action is a very tricky thing. It's a very hard thing to do, but let's find out more. So Destin Daniel Cretton, known for directing Shang-Chi, is going to write and direct this adaptation of Naruto for Lionsgate. He'll also produce the film alongside Aviarad and Ariarad. That's right, folks. The producers of Uncharted, Venom, Spider-Man, and you know they had a hand in Madam Web, are going to be, and the upcoming Legend of Zelda live action movie directed by Wes Ball. Can we stop giving Avi Arad? Can we stop giving him stuff? He's the Uwe Boll of freaking producers. Like, we all know it. We all know he's the problem. Destin Daniel Cretton's a good writer, good director, all that, right? Fine. But can we just not have Avi Arad in anything? Can we just stop doing this? Please. I don't know how Avi Arad was able to get Masashi Kishimoto, if I'm mispronouncing that. I apologize, the creator of Naruto here, to give his blessing. It might have some stuff to do with Shigeru Miyamoto allowing for the Legend of Zelda to happen with Avi Arad producing. Like, what is this guy? Does he just have like beer flavored balls? Like, I don't get it. What's happening? Why does he keep getting this stuff? I'm sorry. Based on Avi Arad's track record, I have very little faith in this. Okay, because we know it doesn't matter how well Destin Daniel Cretton writes the stuff and directs it. If studio interference happens, it's going to be bad. But Kishimoto has given his blessing to Cretton for the adaptation, expressing confidence in Cretton's vision and the ability to create solid drama. Now, this project has been in development with Lionsgate since 2015. And this is the first time it's really kind of moved forward. So, again, I have a feeling the Legend of Zelda adaptation, the Mario adaptation, the Avatar: The Last Airbender, One Piece, even maybe Cowboy Bebop has kind of shown that there is maybe an interest by these producers to create live action content based around this. But my approach on it is simply just no, let's not do it. Let's maybe not do it. I don't know. You guys got to tell me. I'm not a Naruto fan. My only connection to Naruto is the guy who played Guy Sensei, Skip Skelrecht, the voice of that. We shot a short film at my house in San Diego where he played the lead actor and I wrote the script and produced the short film. So it's like, that's my only connection. He was a good dude. I've never seen the show, You guys got to tell me, is this something you want, something you don't want? I want to know. It's just that, right? It is just that. God help us. And so that brings me to the end of Hollywood After Dark for Friday, the 23rd of February, 2024, actually. Please leave your thoughts, your opinions. What should I check out this weekend? What are you watching this weekend? I'll talk to you guys later on. Have yourself a great one. Thank you again, and peace the hell out.